Today I will show you how to draw this surrealist night landscape step by step. I will use a palm tree image to create the tree silhouettes. You can download the image and the color palette we will use via the link in the description below. If you like my YouTube tutorials, you may want to check out my Patreon, where you can actually access more exclusive tutorials and brush sets. You'll find a link to it below too. Without any further delay, let's begin drawing! The size of my canvas is 2000 by 2500 pixels. In the beginning, I will pick this green color. Let me zoom the canvas a bit out, and I will click on selection icon. Here I will select rectangle and activate color fill. Let's create a rectangle that is a bit higher than the half on top part of the canvas. After that, I will select a darker green color above this one. Go to selection again and draw another rectangle. This time it will be exactly half of this rectangle we created before. Now let's alpha lock this layer. So when we go to Gaussian blur, the edges will stay as they are, and we will blur only what is inside the shape. So let me slide to the right to 100%. Then deselect. Let me create one more layer, and I will place it underneath. I will select the first layer as the reference, go back to the new layer, and fill it with this green color from the second column. Then I will pick this dark color that is almost black, but if we check the value, it's not totally black, it's more like dark green. And I will draw a rectangle on the lower part of this rectangle using selection. It will be filled straight away as well, because we have color fill. Let's also alpha lock this layer. And this time I will apply Gaussian blur on it at 50%. Next, I will go to this layer, turn the reference option off, create a layer above it, and clip. I will pick this color, that is black. Let me go to selection again, and this time I will switch to freehand. We will draw an island shape, starting from here, a bit lower than the edge, and I will be just tapping to create this polygonal shape. It can go higher, here, I will make one bigger hill, then a smaller one. Here I will just close the shape. Tap on this dot and it will be filled. Now let's go to the brushes, Organic, and duplicate wild grass. I will go to its settings, and here I will change just a few things. In rendering, I will set it to intense blending. Then in color dynamics, I will turn everything off. So we will get one color. And in dynamics, here in the jitter, I will set opacity to none. Click Done. After that, I will set the brush size to 7% and draw along the upper edge. Since we don't have any dynamics, we only create a grassy silhouette. I will move this island a bit to the left and down, this way. Now let's add clouds on the sky. I will be using white color, and in the same set I will pick rainforest. For the clouds I will create a new layer. We can also clip it. The brush size here is at around 9 or 10%, and I will draw some random cloudy shapes, not pressing on the pencil. One cloud here and more at the lower part. Alright, now let's duplicate this layer. Then I will go back to the layer underneath and blur it slightly, around 4 or 5%, maybe 4.5. Okay, we got this blurry, and the layer on top will be set to add. If the clouds look a bit too shiny, we can lower the layer's opacity a bit. I'll set it to 80%, but it totally depends on your result. So we got this depth. Since it is night and there are some gaps between the clouds, we can add the stars. These two layers can be merged. And for the stars, I will create a new layer above the clouds. You can make stars in any way that you prefer. If you have a brush, you can use this brush, but I will just make them very simple, using monoline. I will make the brush size very small, 1%, and tap in these gaps. Increase the size to 2% and add more stars. Maybe a few bigger ones. Let's duplicate this layer and blur the one underneath using Gaussian blur. Since the size of the stars is small, the amount of Gaussian blur should be also not very big. 3.5% is fine. For more shine, we can duplicate this layer. And I will merge these three. Let me also create a layer below the clouds. And select this yellow color from the palette. First, I will select Studio Pen from inking, make the size 1% and draw a circle. Approximately this size. I will tap on the canvas. After that, I will duplicate this circle and drag it this way. So in the intersection, we got this half moon shape. Let's merge these two layers. Create a layer above it or under, it doesn't matter. I'll set this one to reference and fill this shape for the half moon. After that, we can delete this layer that we used as a reference. And we got a perfect half moon. Let's only place it under the island. And I'll move it this way. Let's also make it shine. So I will duplicate it. Go to the layer underneath and blur it with Gaussian blur. Here I'll make the size 10%. Let's try to duplicate it. Maybe it's a bit too intense, so I will lower the opacity of one of these layers to 65% and merge. Actually, we can merge all the layers for the half moon. What is missing on the island is the trees. I would like to add palm trees, and we will create the silhouette right now. For that, I will go on top layer, so the imported layer will appear on top of it. Go into Actions, Add, and I will insert a palm tree image. I got it on unsplash.com, and you will find a link to it under this video. If you will have troubles removing the background, you can use the processed image that I will also attach to the bundle. So, as I already said, we need to remove the background and keep only the tree. For that, I'm going to Selection. I will turn Color Fill off and select Automatic. Let's try to tap on the background. Here we can adjust the selection threshold and see what happens. I want to keep these smaller details, so maybe around 9% is fine here. I will continue tapping on these big areas. So the trunk is okay. After that, I will remove some of bigger shapes. This one, also this. Just a few, not all of them. Because we will scale it, and these details are not so important. I'm removing only the biggest ones. Like this. And here. Alright, a couple more. And that's it. Then I will just swipe 3 fingers down and click cut. If you see something else to be removed, you can continue. Alright, I think this is fine. Now I will pick the color from the island. Alpha lock this layer with the palm tree and fill it. Let's go to transformation, scale it, and drag it on the island. I will make it smaller and rotate a bit to the right. This way. We are making a surreal landscape, so it's okay that this half moon is huge and the palm trees are not so big. Now I will duplicate this image, flip this one horizontal, and drag it to the left. I will also make it a bit smaller and rotate more. I think this is fine. Let's merge all these layers with the background, but keeping this part separately. Now we need to create a reflection on the water for this part. So I will just duplicate it, click on the arrow and flip it vertical. I will turn magnetics on in the settings and drag this one down. I will keep a tiny gap between these two images, so we can separate the water with the land. After that, I will set this layer's opacity to 75%. And you can do it according to your own preferences, so you can make it lower, so the image here will look darker. For me 75% is fine. And I will keep it in normal mode. Now we need to turn it into water. So what will I do? First we need to unlock the layer. After that I will go to Adjustments and select Glitch. I will use it on the layer. Let's switch to Wave in the lower menu, and I will slide to the right to 53%. Looks like we are ruining the composition, but actually we need to change a few more settings to make it look like the reflection. So here I will set zoom to 0% and amplitude to 13. We only need to find the correct frequency amount. If we put it to 100, this is what we will get. But we can lower it a bit and see that these waves are getting bigger. You can also pick the amount you prefer. I will keep it at 100%. But that's not all yet. I will also go and apply Gaussian blur on it. At 5%, or maybe a bit less. 4.5. So I used these neutral colors to create a base for our illustration. And now we have a space for creativity to change the colors. I'll be doing it the following way. First, I will merge these 3 layers, duplicate it. I'm on the top layer now, and I will apply gradient map on it. Selecting layer, and I will pick Venus. It is way too intense. But I will change its layers mode to lighten. In this mode, Procreate compares base color and blend color and picks whichever is lighter as the result color. Pixels darker than the blend color, which is this layer, are replaced, and pixels lighter than the blend color do not change. I will keep this, but you can also try to experiment with the gradient map colors and blending modes. I'm just merging these two. And I want it to look more like water. So I will add something else on a new layer with white color. I will go to Elements and pick Oceans. The size is set to 45%. I will just make a few strokes on some areas. To create this water texture. Not too much, and mostly on light areas. Maybe here. They can be longer. And then I will set its mode to add and lower the opacity to 37%. We can see the difference. But I want to blur this layer slightly to blend it with the image. So I will apply Gaussian blur at around 3.8%. The illustration looks ready, but let's be more creative and put it in some shape. It can be a circle or capsule or any geometric shape. It's up to you. I will do this. First of all, let's merge these 2 layers, and I will create a layer that I will place underneath. I will pick some dark color, turn this layer off for now, using monoline from calligraphy set, and I will draw a circle. By the way, if you prefer to keep it in circle, I think it would be better if you crop the canvas to square shape, so it looks more harmonious. Let's fill it. I'll drag it a bit to the left, so I have same space everywhere. So I'm moving it also a bit up without magnetics. Or we could actually use snapping to find the center of the canvas. Now on this layer, I will go and apply motion blur to it. I will move my pencil vertically, so these two sides are parallel to the canvas. Alright, I think this is fine. But to make these edges sharp, I will duplicate this shape as many times as needed until I get solid color. I'm duplicating, merging, maybe a couple of more times. Alright, now this is fine. I will just bring back the layer with the illustration and clip it to our shape. I will also scale it without snapping, just dragging it on the sides to make it fit the shape. We can also move it to center. And I think if you make it in a circle shape, you better place it right in the middle vertically as well, so this line will be in the middle of the circle. But in this shape, it is fine that we made it a bit lower. Let's also change the background color into this dark blue. Well, it looks like two colors are mixing, so I will create this border to separate the illustration from the background. For that, I will duplicate our shape, alpha lock it, and repaint it into this milky color. Click and fill layer here. Then I will go to transformation and scale it. In uniform mode, Procreate doesn't scale it uniformly, so we need to switch to freeform and do it manually on the sides to make the thickness of this border same everywhere. Let me tap a couple of times to move it. Alright. Finally, let's create a shadow for our image. For that, I will duplicate this bigger shape, go to the one underneath, pick black color and fill this layer. After that, we need to unlock it to be able to apply Gaussian blur on it. I will select layer and slide to the right to 10%. Then I will click on this arrow and move the shadow a bit to the left and down. We can also change the layers mode to multiply and lower its opacity a bit. I'll set it to 80%. And now our surrealist night landscape is ready. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you share your drawing on Instagram, tag me in your post so I'll be able to see it. You can support me and access more content on my Patreon page. You'll find all links in the description to this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.